Okay, took an L today on NASDAQ. I'll explain my reasoning for getting in. I'd consider this an A setup rather than an A plus setup. I followed my model, so I can't, I'm not upset with the loss. I did what I should be doing, which is just following my model, and I have been for quite some time. I don't remember the last time I really strayed away from my model, so I'm happy with my patience. We'll see. It's 11 o'clock, so I'm most likely not going to enter into anything else or even get a setup, but there's potential for us to react bullish off this 15 minute if we can get down in there, but I don't know. We'll see. Most likely done for the day. And yeah, what we have here is, if you go to the daily first, I was looking for a previous daily high to get taken as my draw initially, and I just marked up PDL and PDH. I was going into the session a bit more bullish because we had disrespected 4-hour bearish PD arrays, like we inverse this 4-hour, and we were again like we inverse this 1 hour, and we were respecting bullish PD arrays. So I was more bullish, and obviously we got the bias correct. Now if you go to the 15 minute, the reason why I said this is probably an A setup and not an A plus setup is the fact that I was entering here and we had not closed this 15 minute candle yet. So it was looking decent where we might have closed in here and respected this, but since this 15 minute hadn't closed yet, it was a bit riskier entering here because it could have gone either way, in the sense of it could have inversed this 15 minute or it could have not, and obviously we ended up inversing it. Obviously it didn't matter for bias purposes because we just shot higher anyway, but that would be the only reason I'd give this an A instead of an A plus setup. I liked everything else about it. I mean, we, at the time of me entering, swept. Let me just see this really quickly. I mean, it was a resweep as well, so we swept a decent chunk of liquidity here. Like, we swept these lows, and it was a resweep on the 1 minute because we swept this low as well, this internal low that you could have potentially taken a trade from had we inversed here. So it was a resweep as well. And what else? I mean, the other thing was that we were, let me just check something. I want to make sure, I don't know if this is true or not. So before I say it, yeah, it was true. So we ended up coming into this other 15 minute as well that you could argue we could bounce from, which obviously we ended up doing, and we're holding it really nicely, but we wicked a lot lower. So we were respecting that as well off of my entry, but of course I wanted to see this not get inversed, and that ended up happening. And then my entry was the 1 minute. It was the highest time frame for value gap in the leg. We inversed it very nicely here and got in with some market orders because it was very close to my limit anyway. So I essentially got filled where my limit would have been anyway. And yeah, just ended up taking it out. It is what it is. I mean, we were targeting just a 1-to-1. This would have been my break even up here. So realistically, if it hit my break even, it would have been a tragic break even had we not just continued to 1-to-1, but it was possible. Anyways, anything's possible, right? But yeah, took a loss. And again, I followed my model here. There's really nothing much else to say. It has not been easy to trade in these market conditions right now. I don't know. It just hasn't been easy. Like, I've been very good at being patient, and I have not traded very much. This was my first trade this week, and it's Wednesday. Obviously, we did have the bank holiday on Monday, so I definitely wasn't going to trade Monday. And then all of last week, I took one trade, and it ended up being break even, if I recall correctly. Let me just check that. I want to make sure yeah, took one trade all the way back last Monday on October 6th, and it ended up being break even. So it had been another full week of no trades up until today, and it's not. It used to be somewhat because of fear of entering, and I would miss some good quality setups. But more recently, like I back tested to make sure that I didn't miss any setups the past 2 weeks. And yeah, I mean, we really didn't. I mean, it's been the setups have been few and far in between, like genuinely. And today was a setup, and I'm happy I took this because if this would have played out and I hadn't, I would have been even more upset than taking the loss because I've been waiting for a setup to form for quite some time, and we finally got one today. So uh, I'm glad I pulled the trigger on it. That's all I can really do is just pull the trigger when I see my model, and I did that today. So it just ended up being the loss, but yeah, but solid trading day. Hopefully tomorrow is gives us another setup, and hopefully tomorrow's a winner. But yeah,